Welcome to the Dougherty County Board of Commissioners meeting with your chairman, Christopher S. Cohilas. Your commissioners include, from District 1, Commissioner Ed Newsom. From District 2, Commissioner Victor Edwards. From District 3, Commissioner Clinton Johnson. From District 4, Commissioner Russell Gray. From District 5, Commissioner Gloria Gaines. And from District 6, Commissioner Anthony Jones. Also joining us is your County Administrator, Michael McCoy, Assistant County Administrator, Scott Addison, County Clerk, Juwan Ware, and County Attorney, Spencer Lee. Thank you for joining your Dougherty County Commission meeting.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'll go ahead and call to order the Dougherty County Commission regular meeting for April 19th, 2021. Note for the record that Commissioner Newsom, Edwards, Johnson, and Gray are present in person. Is Commissioner Gaines on the line?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. And Commissioner Jones is absent. If I could please have everyone please stand for the prayer and then the pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that we have to come together to do work for the citizens of Dougherty County. Thank you for the many resources that you have provided us with. Thank you for the spirit of collaboration that we have here. Please continue to guide us through these uncertain times and let us find ways to bring more prosperity to our citizens, more safety, and more strength. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, consider for action the minutes of the March 15th regular meeting and March 29th work session.
Motion approved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? There being none, let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Let's now move on to delegations. And I understand we have a delegation we need to go ahead and take first. Is Judge Driscoll here?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I could not see you. Good to see you, Ingrid. Let's go ahead and take you first, okay? Because I understand you've got court this morning, and we want to be respectful of your time, and thank you for being here. And I understand Judge Solomon could not be here this morning.
That's correct. Thank you. Morning, members of the
Good morning,
Commission.
Your Honor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Fiscal year 2020, the Dougherty County Juvenile Court was awarded $431,658 from the Juvenile Justice Incentive Grant Program. This award is to service 77 youth with our functioning family therapy program. We call it the FFT program. It's an individual-based family intervention program that addresses delinquency, violence, substance abuse, and/or disruptive behavior disorders. Since 2012, Dougherty County Juvenile Court has serviced over 200 youth. The program is designed to reduce the number of youths placed in out-of-home facilities. Currently, we show that our rate of recidivism is 15%. And once again, we are applying for a grant in the amount of $450,000 to continue with the FFT program. The only downside to this program is that it does not deal with the growing population concerns we have with our juveniles. We can't service sex offenders, detained youth, or any youth who are charged with Class A designated felons. At the current time, our only thing we can do is detain those and give them restricted custody. I did speak briefly with Judge Solomon and our chief clerk about trying to implement a gang intervention program with the Dougherty County Juvenile Court, and I spoke briefly with Sheriff Spruill on my way in, and I told him I'm going to sit down with him maybe one day next week so we can start trying to figure out other programs that we can provide in our community to deal with our continuing problem.
Sure. Well, this is a good foundational program that the Commission's historically been very supportive of, and obviously any approach that doesn't always center around detaining children is a good approach. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, in addition of business 7G, I offer a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? There being none, let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. You're back to court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Delegations. Commission, we are comments to those items pertaining to Dougherty County for which public hearing has not been held or scheduled. We ask everyone to be brief to the point and considerate of time for others. And let's start first with William Ashbury, Chairman of the Board of Tax Assessors, who's present to recognize Chief Appraiser George Anderson for 31 years of service as a Dougherty County employee, and introduce Joseph McPherson as the successor for the Chief Appraiser. And we have a little bit of a presentation this morning. I'm going to ask Mr. Ashbury to speak first, and then I'm going to make a presentation of the award, okay?
Thank you,
Good morning, Mr.
Chairman.
Ashbury.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Thank you for allowing us to be before you this morning. We're here to honor a 31-year employee of Dougherty County. I've been with George in the department for all those years. I've seen him come up through the ranks, and he's done a good job for the county. For the last 5 years, he's been the Chief Appraiser for Dougherty County, and we appreciate it very much. It's been my pleasure to work with you, George.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Likewise as well.
You've done a good job of training our employees. We have a young group of employees there, and we appreciate very much your effort over the last 30 minutes.
Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it.
Mr. Anderson, I've been watching you at a lot of meetings all these years, and on behalf of the County Commission, this is a retirement award presented to you in appreciation of 31 years, 2 months of dedicated service to the Board of Commissioners of Dougherty County Tax Department from February 14th, 1990 to April 30th, 2021. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
George says he wants to travel. I hope he gets to travel all over the world, and he can fly have a good time for the next many years. Thank you, George. Also like to introduce to you this morning, Joseph McPherson, who's been with the county for 8 years, and for the last 6 months, he's been the Assistant Chief Appraiser. And we put out a call for a new appraiser, Chief Appraiser, and he was one of 3 people who sent in resumes, and I'm always thankful when we can move people up from the inside. Move our own people up to places of importance. And Joseph is going to be the new Chief Appraiser for Dougherty County, and for the last 6 months he's been the assistant to George, so he's been getting his feet wet, and we know that you'll keep the things that George has started in motion and train all the new employees, and we appreciate very much you applying for, and it's our pleasure to announce you as the next Chief Appraiser.
Let's give a round of applause. Welcome, Joseph. Yes. All right. Next, Tax Director Shauna Josie, present to discuss the homestead exemption for the elderly. Good morning, Ms. Josie.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning,
Good morning.
Commissioners. Today, I'll be presenting to you the homestead elderly exemptions that are requested. But first, I'd like to start off. See if I can get this to work. First, I'd like to start off just talking about the homestead exemption. The homestead exemption basically is for any homeowner that reside in Dougherty County and use Dougherty County as their primary and legal residence. And that amount is $2,000, and that amount is adjusted and deducted from the 40% assessed value of the homestead property. So when you look at it, there you are, you see your county M&O, your school M&O, and your city M&O. And I apologize, I did not put the social special services on there, but it's $2,000 as well. And of course, it is the same as it is for the legal residents. Next is the elderly exemption, excuse me. And the elderly exemptions is the school tax exemption. You have to be 62 or older. You have to have a net income of 10,000 or less. That excludes any income that has to do with your retirement, pension, or disability, which maximum amount, according to the Social Security, is $75,552. That exemption amount can go up to $10,000, and this is applied to the school tax exemption levy amount. And if you look across, the first column is for the county, the middle column is for the school, and the second column is for the city, and as I said, I apologize for the special services, is 2,000 as well. So when you go across, it's 2,000 for the county, 10,000 for the school for the max amount that you can get, and 2,000 for the city, and 2,000 for special services. The standard elderly tax amount, you have to be 65 or older. The same income restrictions, and the maximum amount is $75,552. The exemption.
Ms. Josie, let me interrupt you for 1 second.
Sure.
How, practically speaking, does this get policed? Because, I mean, I would presume, I mean, they show up at the tax department and bring their income tax filings?
You have to have proof of income, and most bring their income tax form, but we have to have some type of proof to determine your that you qualify for the exemption, because there is an income stipulation on there. So it has to be proven.
So
We do not make a copy, we just ask you to bring it so that we can apply it to make sure that you qualify.
and there's an exclusion, so essentially, you know, you can't make more than $10,000, with the exception that there's a, I guess a credit. I mean, you can make up to $75,000 in terms of retirement, pensions, and disability. I gotcha. So how are other counties, I'm assuming y'all gotten some guidance from the Department of Revenue on how to manage this?
Actually, this is a state exemption, so we do not make any alterations to it. It's strictly based on the state requirement exemption.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just wondering, I guess folks are going to have to bring their tax returns down to the tax department. That just seems bizarre to me. Not criticizing us, I'm just saying,
Right.
I've never seen a tax credit that's applied this way. I'm not saying I'm against it, and I
Yes, sir.
think we're going to have to deliver information to the citizens on what constitutes the appropriate information so that they can come in and provide that.
And we do, if they call in, we do explain to them what is needed in order to apply and what we need to review, as well as bringing, I believe you have to have a copy of ID as well, just to verify that you are a Georgia resident here in Dougherty County.
I would hope that they're subject to paying property taxes.
Yes, sir, but we also have to make sure that is the individual.
Yes, sir. But this is only for homestead. This doesn't include investment properties.
No, sir.
Okay.
Just homestead. The property.
Understood. I didn't mean to throw you off. I needed
No,
to
sir.
get that clear in my mind.
Is it either or, like, is it 2,000 and 10,000, or is it just the 10,000 or the 2,000?
Well, when you apply it to your actual tax levy, you have the county, school, the city, and the special services. So it's applied to each entity.
Okay.
So when you're saying the 10,000 is on school tax only, tax levy. So the other amounts would be whatever they qualify for that part for the county.
So a resident could receive the 2,000 as well as up to 10,000, possibly?
Yes, sir, you would have both, yes.
Okay.
Applied to the actual tax levy for that taxing authority.
It's not a credit, it's just an exemption.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so, any adjustment to the homestead exemption amounts needs to go through the state legislature, is that correct?
If you would like to make any changes to it, yes, sir.
Okay.
Because these are state exemptions. The only one that's not is the local state exemption, which is one for the city, and it's the local elderly exemption. But all others are state exemptions.
So, and just perhaps this is my own ignorance, I see the three different, columns. There's 2,000, 10,000, 2,000, then 4,000, 10,000, 4,000.
Right.
What do those represent?
Those are the exemption
County schools
amounts.
and school. So which one is the county, which one's the school?
I'm sorry, the first column is the county, the middle column is the school, the last column is the city, and I apologize, it did not include the special services, but it will be 2,000 as well.
Understood. Okay, so what they're essentially saying, yeah, unless you're in a
And if you're looking
$1
at,
million home, then you're not gonna get the full benefit of the exemption.
Right.
I understand.
and if you're looking at it across, the reason why they're different is because the 10,000 is for the school exemption amount for that tax levy. So the 2,000 would be for the county tax levy, the 10,000 would be for the school tax levy, and the 2,000 would be for the city or either special services.
Understood. All right, very good.
Okay, so the standard elderly exemption, of course, you have to be 65 and older, and same income restrictions, and that exemption amount is 4,000. Well, it would be 4,000 when you include the 2,000 your regular homestead, and then an additional 2,000, which would make that 4,000. Okay, the last for the elderly exemption is the one that I was speaking of, which was the elderly for the local tax, which is an additional 2,000 from the homestead, and that is a city of Albany tax levy only. So you would still have your same exemption amounts. I put it NA just to concentrate on just the city portion, which would make that the 4,000. Then you have the SC, which is the state as exemption, and there is no income restriction on the two of these. The L1, you just have to meet the qualifications of the age. As far as the SC, 65 and older, for the additional 2,000, that is applied to the unincorporated special services area, and there's no income restriction to that. So it replaces the L1, and you have that exemption, which is the same as the 2,000. And then I just wanted to include, there is 100% disabled veteran amount. You have to be 100% disabled, awarded by the VA. This exemption equals up to $100,896. In 2021, that changes every year based on the index from the VA. But the maximum amount is for exemption, and that amount is applied to all that qualify, $100,896 that is applied toward exemption for on the homesteaded property. These exemptions are year-round. You can apply for it, but in order for it to be applied in the current year, it has to be applied for before April 1st. So between January and April 1st for those. And basically, those are all the exemptions. There are some other exemptions, but these are the homestead elderly exemptions that we're talking about today.
So, Ms. Jessie, do you have any idea how many current Daugherty County resident homeowners are taking advantage of any of these exemptions?
Yes, sir. Based on our 2020 statistics for the school tax, we had 326, and we had for the elderly, standard elderly, we had 2,878. And that's for the county M&O, and for the special services, we had for school tax 105. For the standard elderly, we had 835.
18 what?
835.
Oh, 835, okay.
For the standard elderly, do you go ahead and apply, or do they still have to come in and ask for it?
You have to apply for it one time, and then it's on there, and it remains on there until you change residence.
So they can start at 62,
Yes, sir.
and then at 65, an additional
Well, 62 is the school tax, and then 65 is the
elderly tax.
standard. Yes, sir.
It's good information.
Thank
Excuse
you.
me, Ms. Joseph, do you have the dollar amount, what that equivalent to?
And I apologize, after I looked, I said I should have put that on there for you. Which one would you like?
Yep, school, the school.
The school, okay. The school tax amount is $182.19. And the standard, of course, for each one, for the county is $31.14. The city's like $19.34. We're talking about the standard. And the special services $18.35. And you would double that amount when you're looking at the standard. So the 31 plus 31, and the same with the others as well. But the school tax exemption is $182.19. Savings.
Gotcha. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, thank you very much, Ms. Jessie.
You're welcome.
All right, next, Sheriff Sproul, present to discuss the Albany-Darty Youth Unit with the commission. Morning, Sheriff. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning to all.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's a blessing to be here, and I'm very excited to be here with Chief Michael Pursley of the Albany Police Department. A little backdrop before Captain Thomas comes up to speak. In September of last year, Captain Thomas approached me and said he had an idea on trying to collaborate some different departments together and work some different programs with our youth and prevention work. And they come up with the Albany-Darty Youth Unit. In January, I met at the jail. We had the city police, the county police, and the school system police. We laid out our plan for them, and after speaking to the other departments, the Albany Police and us has come to each other and going to work with each other. We have 4 officers working. Michael Pursley of Albany Police has provided 2. We provided 2. And I'm going to bring up Captain Thomas. He's going to run through a PowerPoint and kind of share with you this excitement that we have with this Albany-Darty Youth Unit. It has 4 components to it, and I think y'all will be very pleased. Some of y'all remember Frank Sumner, Deputy Dog, and the work he did for years, and then I stepped in and did the work. Chief Hayes came in. I brought him over, and I brought Ted over recently when Taryn Hayes was promoted to Chief Deputy. Captain Thomas has 30 years law enforcement experience. I met him in 1996 when he was working with the Albany Police Department, and we joined our summer camps together. We all know the problem we have with juveniles. We all know juvenile crime. We have so many issues that's going to be addressed through this program. Chief Burton, would you have any comments to make before Captain Thomas speaks?
Chairman, commission members.
Good morning.
It only makes sense that out of 15,000 kids in the Darty County school system, and then others who are affected, instead of all of us trying to do our own programs with limited resources, we just come together and do a good program for youth engagement. Now, this isn't the end-all, be-all, because like I said, 15,000 kids in the Darty County school system is plenty to go around. But we looked at it, and it really started from a conversation about having a Youth Explorer program. Listen, as long as we can get people into public safety, it doesn't matter to me which agency they go work for, because if it's here in Darty County, it's going to serve everybody. So from that discussion, it evolved into this youth unit, and I have 2 officers who I've assigned they love working with the youth, and with other contacts that we have from the city side that we're bringing to the table, here's the potential for a great program. So I'll turn it over to Captain Thomas to give you the program, but we are behind it, and we fully support it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman.
Good morning.
Good morning. Like the Sheriff and Chief say, my name is Captain Ted Tumble of the Albany-Darty Youth Unit. I have with me Sergeant Lane with the Sheriff's Office, Corporal Franklin with the City Police, and Corporal Shanita Sawyer with the Albany Police Department. Before you should have a handout talking about giving you an overview of the Albany-Darty Youth Unit. And one thing that we talked about was planting the seed for the next generation. When we talk about planting the seed for the next generation, we talking about having a positive ear in our youth ears on an everyday basis. We don't want to just show up when things are going wrong in the community. We want to be there with our kids every day as much as possible. telling them some positive things about how life is going to be, what they need to be doing. When we start talking about planting seed, for the next few minutes, I want you to have the mindset of a farmer. When a farmer starts thinking about planting seeds, he's going to go out, he's going to prepare the land, then he's going to come back, he's going to plant the seeds. Once he plants the seed, he's going to nourish that crop because he wants the best product that he can get, and then he's going to harvest. That's the same mindset that our Benedorti Youth Unit is taking with our youth. We're going to put things in place that our kids can be successful in doing, hoping that they're going to become productive citizens. We're going to nourish them throughout the years. Once, my motto is one thing that I'm telling the officers, once we make contact with a child, we deal with that child till they graduate from high school. We want to make sure that we are in their ear on a positive every day, as much as possible. Like the sheriff said, back in January, we met with the leaders of law enforcement here in Dougherty County, and we talked about sharing our resources. Stop just this agents doing their thing, everybody doing their own thing, working with the youth. Let's all put our resources together so that we can do one program so that the kids can see the law enforcement unifying together to do what's best for them. So we came up with our Benedorti Youth Unit just to show our kids that as law enforcement, we are there for you from the beginning, not just when you get in trouble, not when you see parents or neighbors getting in trouble with the law. We are there for the positive things as well. Through this law enforcement, our Benedorti Youth Unit, we are planning on doing some pre-intervention work for us teaching them going into the Dougherty County school system to teach the champs, the great, to the elementary and middle school students. And we're going to talk about the high schools in a little bit. But hopefully through these programs, this intervention, that the kids will be able to develop a positive relationship with them so that they can see that law enforcement really do have their best interests at heart. Our mission for the Albany Dougherty Youth Unit is to develop exceptional enrichment environment. One thing that we're going to concentrate on is when these kids come into our program, that we are providing them with an environment that they can feel safe in, that their parents can feel safe when their kids come into our location, that they know that their kids are going to be getting the best care. We're going to be working with the kids between the ages of 8 and 18, creating and molding their mind to a unique experience through our wide range of education. We're going to make sure that the stuff that we provide is going to be tools that they can use for success. Our focus is helping them to develop various aspects of their lives, including but not limited to academics. We all know that academics is the most important thing that our kids are going to learn. But we want to focus on more than just academics. We're going to focus on athletics. And we know that all of our kids are not athletic inclined, but we're going to make sure that we reach them and find out what their potential may be. We're going to be doing it through social interaction, nutrition. We want to make sure that we're teaching our kids the proper way to eat, the proper way to be healthy, so that they can be, once again, be productive citizens. We're going to be working on life skills with them, and we're going to work on the arts and community service. We're going to make sure that our kids know that it's important to give back to the community that's going to give so much to them. We're also hoping to register for the Albany Dougherty Youth Unit. We'll be implementing the PALS. Some of you may have heard of the Police Athletic League. But we're going to, once we apply for this, we're going to change it to the Albany Dougherty Sheriff's Activity League because the Sheriff's Office is going to be the parenting agency. Through this organization, it's going to provide more opportunities and resources that we're going to be able to reach out to our kids to help them to be developed, productive citizens. Throughout the Albany Dougherty Sheriff, we're going to do a summer components, which we have been doing for the last 20 plus years, starting out with grade and champ. And we're going to be, once again, once we register for the Albany Dougherty SAL, we're going to change it to the Albany Dougherty Sheriff Activity League Summer Camp. And we're planning on doing this camp for 5 weeks, having the ages between 8 and 14 from 7:30 to 5 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. You should have before you a budget for this summer program. Because of, in the past, the county did give the CHAMP program back in 2019 a $10,000 budget for the summer program. And we thank you for that budget, for that funds then. And we're hoping that we're able to get that $10,000 again to help us with our summer program. We are looking forward to buying some new product because we haven't bought some equipment for the summer program in some years. And our equipment is worn, and we need to replace some of the equipment that we have, and as well as purchase some new items. With the budget that we planted on for the summer program, if we get the funds from the city and the county, it's not only going to be able to give us the opportunity to do some great things for other communities, but it's going to be able to allow those kids to attend our summer program for free. And when I'm talking about for free, everything that they will be receiving will be free for the parents. And the kids will be able to get that morning meal, they'll be able to get a lunch, they'll be able to get a snack, as well as go on some of the activities that we planning on for them. We do believe in if we take our kids outside of Albany, they'll be able to see other things other than what they see here in Albany. It'll give them some hope that there's other things that can be possible for them if they see and exposed to different parts of the state of Georgia. So those are some of the things that we're planning on doing with them throughout the summer camp. For the funding, like I said, it not only gives the kids the free opportunity to attend the camp, but it will also give us the opportunity to the funding, the donation that we receive from the community to be able to do some great things as far as the community barbecue that we do, the National Night Out, the Traveling Fall Festival, which is during the Halloween, the Thanksgiving turkey giveaway and Shop with the Sheriff and Chief, as well as doing the Christmas care package for our seniors. So with the money that we make throughout our summer program, that we will be using those to give back into the community as well. We're also looking at, during the fall, starting the sheriff talked and the chief talked about the public safety cadet program. We're looking to implement that for our high school students, those between the ages of 14 and 18, who have an interest in becoming in law enforcement. Throughout the public safety cadet program, we plan on training them to be police officers. Hopefully they're going to have that interest when they turn 18 and 21, that they still want to be a law enforcement. And we're hoping by spending these 4 to 7 years with that cadet, that someday they'll say, I'm ready to be a police officer. At the age of 21, they'll come and tell the chief or tell the sheriff that they want to go to the academy. Through our cadet program, we plan on teaching them fitness, leadership. We're going to teach them the chain of command. We're going to teach them teamwork, problem solving. One thing about the public safety cadet program that I'm learning is that you build that morale, you build that confidence in our kids that some of our kids are lacking. And most of the time, as the chief and the sheriff can tell you, a lot of times when people are going to the police academy, they are intimidated by what they are seeing at the academy. We don't have a good turnover of kids, students, cadets passing the academy. But through the public safety cadet program, our kids will be in the program for 4 to 7 years. They'll know what to expect when they go to the academy, and we'll start having a high turnover, high rate of kids, cadets passing the academy. And hopefully our departments will enhance and grow because of the public safety cadet program. And the public safety cadet program it's cheap, and that's a good thing about it. It's only costs us $20 for the unit to join, and it's $15 every year for a cadet to come into our program. So $15 a year, that's a reasonable price that our kids and families can pay, and the service they're going to get is going to be tremendous in helping them become the best that they can be. We also know that the sheriff's component, in order to work with our youth, we know we have to develop some type of relationship with families. Through this, the family component, we're hoping that we can enrich a healthier family, letting the family be able to understand that the child, even though we're working with the youth, we're going to be working with the family as well. And to make sure that the family and the kid can provide foster a healthier home environment. That's our main focus. If we can get to the kid and get to the family and showing them different things that they may be needing to survive, hopefully our family environment will improve. We're hoping at some point in time that we'll be able to do an after-school program. We do know that there's a lot of after-school program in the city already, but there's no after-school program that is involving law enforcement. We're hoping once again that we're going to be able to bridge that gap with the youth so that we don't have what's going on in Minnesota, what done took place in Missouri and Chicago, happened here in Albany, Georgia. With this after-school program, once again, the kids are going to be able to see police officers on an everyday basis, building that relationship with them, and hopefully that they, when time comes, if time ever comes, that the police need these kids' assistance, they'll be feeling free that they got that relationship with us, that they can come and talk to us and tell us what's going on. So hopefully we'll be able to do this summer after-school program with the kids, develop that bond with them. And like I said, the after-school program, we're hoping to run it from 2:30 to 5 every day, and during the holiday breaks, 8 to 5. And like I said, we're going to have a summer camp running from 7:30 to 5. Our future plans, this is something that we're looking forward to, hoping that the city and the county will look into doing for our youth to show them that we do care about them as a community. We're hoping that someday we'll be able to have our own building for law enforcement where our kids can come on an everyday basis. We're hoping to have a conference room in that location, a computer lab, culinary arts. We do know that a lot of our kids love to cook in the city, but for some reason, they don't have the training. So we're hoping to provide that because, once again, all of our kids are not athletic. So we need to provide those that want to cook a place where they can come and learn how to cook. Classrooms, auditorium, we want to be able to provide our kids with a place where they can put on their ability to do certain things in the community. We want to show their talent. Performance art room, we want to make sure that once again, we've provided these resources that our kids are able to do. An art room, music room, a recording room. We do have a lot of our kids getting on social media recording, but if we can provide a place where they can come and record and we can control what they're recording, that would benefit us in the long run. Have a gym, football field. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, about a football field, some grants that we're looking into. An active shooter simulator. This not only going to be for law enforcement that they can come and use the simulator, but it can also be used for the public safety cadets. A recreation room, baseball, softball field, concession stand, outdoor basketball court. And some people may wonder why you want to have an outdoor basketball court when you're talking about having a gym. We need to have our kids outdoors as much as possible. And outside basketball court, we give them that opportunity to spend some time outdoors. Over the last year or so of our kids being inside of a building, and with our summer camp this summer, we're planning most of our activities to be outside, just to get them outside. A wave pool, and wave pool, we're looking at the wave pool will bring some, it'll generate funds for the city and county as well. We met with Mr. Dyers, and we was telling him what we would like to do with the youth. He offered us the old Sivendale building if the city and county would take on the responsibility of renovating this building. He's given us this building to house as our location for now. The sheriff and I, we toured the building, and it needs some work. All the equipment is still inside of the cafeteria. Still had equipment for the play area for the outside. We was talking about moving the trailers and using it, since they already had a concrete slab there, to use that as the outside basketball court for now. The future football field, if you've been by Sivendale Elementary School, you notice on the north side of the building there's an open field there. We were thinking about using that as the football field. Corporal Franklin was telling me about the USA Football has a grant that would come in and change that field to a football field for us. And it also, we can apply for the lighting grants to go around the field. They will come in and do it. The 10-year plan for the Albany Daughter Youth Unit is to utilize the grants to finance the daily operation, utilize youth to manage the daily operation, and provide scholarship to our participants yearly. Our goal is to turn the program over to the youth to let them start running the program. When we all work together, we are building a better future by connecting kids and law enforcement in the community. Albany Daughter Youth Unit will facilitate a new dialogue with the next generation. We will challenge presumption and promote mentorship, and through this simple connection between real people, lives are changed. There are powerful results when we all work together. The law enforcement agency here in Albany Daughter County have decided to come together as one to provide all the resources for the youth here. And we want to make it a pitch to the youth to show them a unified effort from all agencies that we here for them. Some recent events that the Albany Daughter Youth Unit have taken part in, we participated with Robert Harvard with their community and schools when they did honor roll. Superhero was the theme for that day. We also did the Albany Daughter Youth Unit drive-through Easter egg extravaganza a couple of weeks ago. Upcoming events, we plan on Corporal Franklin has registered over 120 some kids for flag football. We're going to do our 5-week summer camp for elementary and middle school students. We did change our planning youth day from June the 12th to August the 6th, which we are planning on doing a back to school for our youth. Some of the partnerships that Albany Daughter Youth Unit have formed since we started with the Daughter County School System, the Albany Housing Authority. Dr. Miles has given us the office, access to the office at 921 Cherry, the office community center there, to use as the office that we're going to be going into the community over there in Holly Holmes, William Benz, making contact with those residents there just to show that law enforcement is here to build a relationship with them. We've made connection with Pivot Family, community and schools, and formed a relationship with the YMCA. If you see that South Georgia Wolverine, that is Corporal Franklin youth football program that he was running before he came aboard. Once we become a part of the Albany Daughter South, we will be changing the name of the South Georgia Wolverines to the Albany Daughter South Wolverine. Once again, we all are joining together to form a unified front for our youth to show them. And we're hoping that with everybody on board, the city, the county, school police, the sheriff, we all showing our kids that we got one common goal, and that's their best interest at heart. So if there's any question at this time.
Have y'all explored any partnerships with the Boys and Girls Club?
We're going to be working with the Boys and Girls Club as well as doing, we setting up the swimming with them.
It just seems to me that a lot of the activities that y'all have identified are obviously very positive and very enriching, and you're not going to find a bigger supporter of athletics, because I think that teaches kids self-pride, and it's really important for them to make that connection. But it seems like a lot of the concepts of which I want to achieve, a lot of those resources already exist in the community, so it may not be that y'all need to try and be so ambitious as to spend all the money or try and find funding sources for all of that. It just seems to me that perhaps you could be more programmatic in establishing some partnerships with some folks in town rather than trying to find a couple $1 million in grants to run some of these things. That's just that's me from the outside looking in, and obviously all very good stuff for these youth.
And we are partnering with the Boys Club and the YMCA and the school system as much as possible in some of the programs that they are doing. But like I say, one thing that we really want to concentrate on is law enforcement bridging that gap with the youth. And that's something that no other organization around here have, is the law enforcement.
I think that's really important.
So that is the main thing that we are really trying to bridge that gap with them.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Johnson.
Corporal Thomas, how you doing this morning?
All right.
The budget of $18,075, that's just what the county's paying?
No, we're going to ask the city for 10 as well.
Okay, so we're going to try to split that budget in half?
Yes.
Okay. I have one more question. So, I mean, this is pretty much like the CHAMPS program 2.0, being evolved into something different,
Something different,
bringing it back alive, but also adding the Albany Police Department into it,
as well as the school police and
and school
county
police into it. Okay. And then forging ahead and trying to build more like a citizens training program, but just for youth, kind of getting them involved with law enforcement, public safety.
The public safety cadet program is more of an extension of what the law and justice is already doing in the school system, but it's taking it to the next level.
I mean, I think what you're doing is very important because the previous person from 7A talked about families. Judge Driscoll was talking about that prior to you all, and then for you all to come back and talk about attacking the families and dealing with the issues that surround the families. Children have a lot of information.
Yes.
They just a lot of times don't know who to talk to about it. There's this whole notion that you can't tell things to people when people are being hurt, and that no snitching thing is the most ignorant thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
If a person is being hurt, why wouldn't I tell someone? That's not the same thing as telling on or ratting on a person. That if a person is being hurt, tell someone that they're being hurt. And I think when you build a relationship, you're going to solve a lot more of the crimes that are plaguing our communities.
Yes.
Because we know by trends and numbers that people are using the youth to commit a lot of these crimes now. And they're putting these teenagers at risk under the notion, Mr. Chairman, that you won't get in trouble or you're too young, it won't be on your record. The other issue is the increase in juvenile crimes is so large that the state is trying to push that all on the counties now. And so it's just the crime and the ones that are the actual perpetrators of the crime are getting younger, and out of the reach of a lot of put them in county jails. I don't think they can go to county jail. At what age, Sheriff, can they go to county jail?
Well, they have to commit one of the 8 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Go to county jail,
But and some things are coming right below that, and so they.
You have as young as 12 years old in jail.
But some of this, a lot of catch and release, right? I catch you, I eventually release you back to a family.
Yes.
A broken family, you get back out again, and I release you again back into this situation. So it's a Herculean task, and we all have to be involved. So you made some very, very, very good points. Going forward, is there a budget for the year 10 plan?
No.
Okay. All right. Very honest. I appreciate it. I mean, you have a lot of good folks working with you. I know a lot of the officers behind you are very involved with youth and youth development and making sure that they are, at least having some form of interaction with law enforcement. So thank you for the work, and I'm happy about going forward in the work. So keep us abreast.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray.
Yeah, first of all, thank you. I'm glad to see the collaborative efforts for this program. I think it kind of limits the opportunity for each department to work individually in its own capacity, and law enforcement is one blue family. Doesn't matter which department you work for, and I think that the youth can see that it doesn't matter whether you work for Dougherty County School System, DCP, Sheriff's, or APD. It's all one family, and everyone in law enforcement is concerned about the youth. I think one thing that I had a couple questions. One, when you're talking about athletic equipment, one thing I've seen, if you've got a teenager, they grow. Yeah. You buy nice sports equipment, and before they've even broken it in good, they've outgrown it, or they've changed sports or something. I think there's a huge volume of high-quality, gently used sports equipment in this community. And I think people would love to know that it could go to help support youth sports programs in this community.
That's a good point.
A lot of the youth sports participants in this community play travel sports.
Yes.
So they leave the community, they're not involved in kind of mixed socioeconomic leagues, but there's a lot of equipment that can be used to subsidize mom's entry point in getting her child into youth sports and having nice equipment that, could be, loaned or, hey, here's some responsibility, keep up with this, we're going to want it back for the team next year. So I would love to collaborate with whoever on how we can get a community-wide kind of play it again type program where people know that they can go donate, good sporting equipment to go toward youth sports in our community. The other thing is, I think, $18,000 isn't a lot when you're asking, two government entities to split that, but every amount of dollars we use also are dollars we don't have to fund law enforcement salaries and resources. The community has the biggest stake in this, not the governments. It's the community that needs to nurture the youth here. And I think they're very concerned about it, but don't have an avenue to work directly. They don't know where to do it. Since now you've all come together and collaborated under one umbrella, I believe, looking at how you have things here, I don't know why a corporate sponsor couldn't come together and sponsor, hey, I'll do your $500 pizza party. What it does is two things. Number one, it gets the community involved and shows their support for the youth in this community. But I think it would be great to have sponsors from those sponsoring organizations there at those events to interact with these kids, to talk about, hey, this is my company, this is what I do, there are jobs out here, come see me when you get old enough type deal. But two, it gives the youth an opportunity to see that the community cares about them. And it's not just law enforcement, it's the community as a whole willing to do this in order to support these programs in conjunction with APD. So I think you could really explore some private partnerships, and that may give you more funding or donated goods than would exceed your wildest imagination under more than an $18,000 budget could give you. And it could be something that could be sustained with relationships in the community. And I think there's a number of entities, between the Chamber of Commerce and its membership, the Convention and Visitor Bureau, and the city and county governments, I think could all find and help promote kind of private partnerships with these things. And I think that would be a great way to do it. The other thing, I saw the condition of that school, and it'd take a lot of money to do it. And before you even said that school and you were talking about all these resources you needed, I'm thinking Albany High.
That was our first. Our first.
I mean, let's remodel a building with taxpayer dollars and then close the school and use it intermittently. I don't understand why the school board couldn't find a limited use for this over the summer, instead of giving you a defunct facility that obviously is going to be cost prohibitive to get it in the condition you need to support the youth. And it's right in the middle of a very target environment for youth to participate. You want those kids in that area participating, and gosh.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
I got a quick question.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Sheriff Spruill, what's the fund from fees that they're paying, offenders are paying for that we fund champs through?
The drug education fund, we're not seeking money from the taxpayers here. The courts have a fund that we have set up with Dougherty County that has money in it. We are looking to access that possibly, that wouldn't come from the taxpayers to help us get this program off and running.
That's right.
Understood.
Thanks.
Understood. Understood. Very good. All right. Thank you all. Excellent presentation. Thank you for your hard work.
I do
Yes,
have one
Commissioner Gaines?
comment, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
Yes,
Gaines?
and just a quick comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really pleased to see the family component. It just seems to me it's terribly important. And perhaps the most important part is helping to develop whole families. And I sure would be interested to know how and what we can do to support that part of it. How do you involve parents because first and foremost, it is the responsibility of families to produce wholesome and productive productive children. The state can certainly help, but it is not the state or the county's or the city's responsibility. It is the parent. And it seems to me it's terribly important to focus on how we can strengthen parents to manage their natural responsibility. So I'm pleased to see that in there, but I would certainly like to see it take a front and center approach in a program like this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Gaines. Thank you. Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a short recess for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good program. But they ain't made the city request yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I'll be.
All right, let's come back to order. And we'll move on with the meeting. I'm just here from James Morgan, County Extension Coordinator, present to update the commission with a quarterly report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to update you all on our first quarter report. You have in front of you our report. I'll just highlight a few things from each program area. We just hired a new expanded food and nutrition education program assistant in our office. Her name is Katori Cannon. She started March the 8th, and she's going through a 2-month training period before she goes out into the public and do food demonstration and nutrition education with limited resource families and their children. She's replacing a full-time program assistant who left us back last November. So that's what we're working on in our FNET program. As far as our A&R program, in the last few months, I've been doing webinars for gardenings and lawns. I'll continue to do that. I've partnered with the Southwest Georgia Project, Inc. with Karen Lawrence. We are now hosting a monthly radio talk show called What's Buzzing Southwest Georgia. We're directly talking to our local farmers, giving them up-to-date information as far as crops and things of that sort. We've had one, but we're going live on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about rural stress. A lot of our farmers, or a lot of farmers have committed suicide in the past, and so we have a rural stress program. We'll be talking about that and vaccine education. UGA has partnered with the CDC to roll out information on getting vaccinated, and so we're helping in that effort. I'm also conducting some studies with the entomology department at the Tifton campus. I work at 2 of our pecan plantations. We're looking at some insect trapping to try to target prime times to actually spray. So that's just a few things I'm doing in my program area. Family Consumer Sciences, Suzanne Williams, she's just wrapped up her VITA program, which is the Virtual Income Tax Assistant Program. She helped 58 people with their taxes. Mainly it was simple taxes, no itemizing, no business. So she's done that, and she's about to start her Elevate grant, helping the community or the Marine-based couples in their relationship and education program. On Wednesday, she'll meet with some of the her collaborative team here at the office. And finally, in 4-H, we are still promoting some of our summer camps. We will know on May 1st if we are going to Rock Eagle to camp. It'll be a limited camp, limited kids. Normally we would try to house 25 to 30 kids from Dougherty County, but because they're going to limit the number of kids because of social distancing and things of that sort, we have 5 slots available for us this year for kids for the 6th grade, and we will be promoting that to get those slots filled. We are also in the process of hiring a 4-H agent, and I would like to thank Mr. McCoy and the commissioners. Back in February, my boss asked me to ask the commissions to up the county funding for our county agents, at least for the 4-H agent position from $12,600 to $15,000. And I talked to Mr. McCoy and explained to him what other counties around us have committed to doing or what they are doing now. And he shared with me that they would increase the 4-H position to $17,000 as well as the Family Consumer Science position to $17,000. Most counties are at $18,000 or more, and this puts you in line to probably get your position funded quicker or get it approved quicker. And that position has been approved. It has been posted last week. I have shared that position with several people, a couple of retired school teachers, and hopefully we'll meet with my DED in Tipton and get this position funded or get this position filled before the new school year starts. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Any comments or questions for Mr. Morgan? All right, thank you very much for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other delegations that wish to present at this time? Good morning, Mr. Capps. Very good, thank you.
Good morning, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I appreciate it. I am here to speak very briefly about Tiff Park and the tennis center. As some of you know, I am a member of the Historic Preservation Commission. However, I'm here as an individual who has an individual interest and passion for historic preservation. Tiff Park is, as you know, one of 10 or 12 sites in Dougherty County that is on the National Register of Historic Places. As such, it is not simply a park, it is a local and regional point of interest. As to the tennis center, to be perfectly frank, I have really no position on it, either for or against. My position is to advocate for the park. In this particular case, one of the considerations should be whether or not, as a historic site, the tennis center adds to or detracts from a historic asset for the community. One of the concerns as relative to that is the scale and impact of the new facility on the park. I am disappointed, having said all that, that the HPC was not consulted, Historic Preservation Commission was not consulted about the plans. As you know, the HPC has a specific mandate to protect and promote historic assets. Whether or not this does that, or doesn't protect, or doesn't whatever, is hardly the point. The point is that the HPC, and correct me if I'm wrong, was not brought into that process. Which brings me to a question of stakeholders. I personally have a great deal of I have a problem with stakeholders and stakeholder interests. Stakeholders have agendas and biases, and when you exclusively have them represented in projects like this, you tend to either give one side of the story, or you leave somebody out, or as the priorities change, in this particular case being the point, stakeholders are left out. And I am disappointed again that the HPC was not brought into the process, not because the decision is bad, but they have a unique perspective that might have impacted the project for or against. My last point, and probably something that has been a little lost in the annals of time, is that 2 or 3 years ago, the city tried to put together a master plan for the park. I have no idea what happened to the project, other than that it didn't bear any fruit. Again, I wish that the tennis center would have been incorporated into some type of master plan. That didn't happen, past its prologue. And really what I'm doing here is, as much as anything, presenting a bit of a consciousness raising as opposed to a critique or whatever. That's the extent of my presentation.
Mr. Chairman, may I update the commission, please, on what Mr. Capps is talking about? There's another procedure dealing with the Historic Preservation Commission that the administrators involved in. The state law provides that if in any historic district, if a change is made, that the applicant needs to go before the local Historic Preservation Commission and allow them 45 days to comment. That is being done. The administrators are in the process of sending a letter to the chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission, Valerie Buchanan, and requesting to be on their May 5 meeting.
Very good.
Which we will go on the May 5 meeting and explain in detail exactly what the commission is trying to do with the tennis center, as well as what the city is trying to do with reinstating their tennis courts with pickleball courts on their property. So at that time, then the historic full board, of which Mr. Capps is a member, will have an opportunity to see the project in detail and make comments.
Understood.
If I can make a couple of observations about that.
Go ahead, Mr. Capps.
I'm sorry. First of all, thank you very much. I was not aware of that, and I appreciate doing that. Second, if you would tell Mr. Davis about that part of the law, I would be very appreciative.
Gotcha.
I'm not certain what the question is.
Mr.
but
Davis.
All I'm saying is that Mr. McCoy will make a presentation to the Historic Commission on May 5th,
Okay.
which you are a member.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand your comment, Mr. Capps.
And my comment was going to be very similar to Attorney Lee's. I was only going to add, I think the fire station going into Park would be a greater pushback from Historic Preservation Society.
I'm sorry?
I would think that a fire station going into Till Park would be a greater push back.
No, well, I think you've got to consider what is the historic nature of the park. And I think there's a great deal of confusion over what that... The problem with historic preservation is that you choose a point, what to preserve, at what point in time. Parks should be dynamic, of course. So the fact that there is something like a tennis center coming in really doesn't necessarily impact the historic nature. What does is the scale. Does the scale overwhelm what's historic about the park?
Understood.
And that's the observation. Once again, I am not talking on behalf of the HPC.
I understand. Commissioner Gaines?
Yes, I think this should be directed towards Mr. Lee. He mentioned that the local historic preservation committee would have some say over it. I'm wondering if the SHPO would have any as well, because it is listed in the National Register, is that right?
Yes, it is.
And will the SHPO or the State Historic Preservation Officer have, Mr. Lee, any clearance requirements?
Not really. The register itself really doesn't impact what is done with the park. SHPO really isn't involved because of state requirements. It's really a local issue, and it's a local listing.
Oh, it's not a national listing?
The listings are divided in terms of importance from a national down to a local scale.
Okay.
This qualifies as a historic site on a local basis.
I got it.
It's not something that is attached to an individual or an event or a piece of architecture that is national in scope or interest.
Okay. Fair enough.
Very good. Thank you.
I just, I certainly appreciate the historic nature of the park, and, any evolution of it should have some type of reflection and homage to the past that, as you say, captures the period for which it is deemed historic. I would challenge, the board and Mr. McCoy and any others who have a hand in the development of the tennis center as we move forward to where budget allows, to try to bring some historic architecture components or period components, to the tennis center office and restrooms and things, perhaps even tied into, kind of the old zoo ticket booth look, something that's not terribly a sore thumb in a historic park from being, new modern construction in what is a historic park.
And that's an excellent point. I'm glad you brought up the zoo. Unfortunately, not being a local, I don't know what the history there is, so it would be nice to have a little bit of background, some public knowledge on what happened, when, and why. And that's an excellent point. I appreciate that.
Very good.
So thank you very much, Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Capps. Thank you. All right, any other delegations that did not previously sign up that wish to be heard at this time? There being none, let's move on. Additional business. Consider for action the recommendation from the Recreation Committee to accept the proposed location at Tiff Park for the Albany Tennis Center. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? There being none, let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consider for action the resolution providing for the acceptance and execution of the agreement by the county administrator to hire EMC Engineering out of Leesburg, Georgia for engineering services of the tennis center as recommended by the Recreation Committee, and the amount of $120,140 in funding is available in SPOS 5. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? There being none, let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consider for action the recommendation to approve the alcohol application transfer of ownership for W Trading LLC from Venkateshwar Guntuka licensee DBA W Food Mart at 4324 Radium Springs Road for beer and wine package. The Albany Daugherty Marshal's office recommends approval. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Yes,
There
sir.
being-
That VV or W?
I think for the record, it's VV.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just for the record.
Yeah, VV. For the record, that is VV. It's not a big W. It looked like a W hotel on that there. Thank you. All right, motion and a second. Discussion is closed. Let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consider for action the recommendation to approve the alcohol application transfer of ownership for Begain LLC, Ayazamad licensee, DBA Stop and Shop at 2201 Liberty Expressway Southeast for beer package. The Albany Daugherty Marshal's office recommends approval. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? There being none, let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consider for action the recommendation from Human Resources to accept the 2021 Georgia County Internship Program Grant from the ACCG Georgia Civic Affairs Foundation in the amount of $2,607.60. The grant will provide a summer internship for the CDBG Disaster Recovery Program. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? There being none, let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consider for action the resolution providing for the acceptance and execution of the renewal of the intergovernmental support agreement with the Marine Corps Logistics Base to provide canal maintenance. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? There being none, let's call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consider for action, we already voted on G. Consider for action the recommendation of the Government Affairs Committee that current plans continue for the county morgue, ensuring to the degree possible that sufficient land is available at or near the selected site for the addition of a functional forensic science lab to be developed at some future date in partnership with Albany State University. Further, it is recommended that the Governmental Affairs Committee continue to work with Albany State University to assist where possible in development of the lab. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? There being none, call the matter for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. There's one nay. That'll be marked as a 5-1. Mr. Lee.
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McCoy.
Nothing. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Edwards.
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Gaines.
I just want to note that I may be one of the few people who actually went to the TIF Part Zoo. As a child.
I got you. All right. Very good. Anything else, Commissioner Gaines?
No, that's
Yeah. Thank you very much. Commissioner Gray.
Nothing further.
Commissioner Johnson.
Nothing further.
Commissioner Newsom.
Nothing further.
We're adjourned.